I sighed, my eyes drooping from lack of sleep and the fluorescent light that bombarded my eyeballs mercilessly. I was on the night shift again, and frankly, I was getting a little sick of it. But alas, someone had to do it. I trudged down the hallway, my feet dragging against the carpet as I made my rounds. Security. What a mundane profession. All young men have, at one point in their lives, probably considered being security guards. But in reality, it's just a whole lot of boredom punctuated by moments of nothing to do, every once in a while. And I mean every once in a blue moon. Something happens, but those moments are so few and far between that they hardly make up for the long stretches of mind-numbing nothingness. Tonight was shaping up to be one of those nights. I had been making my rounds for hours, and so far, nothing had happened. There were the usual suspects, a few drunks stumbling around, a couple of people who had snuck in after hours to conquer the hotel, and that were about it. I was just about to call it a night when I heard it. A loud, blood-curdling scream came from one of the back rooms. My heart skipped a beat and adrenaline coursed through my veins. The scream was a terrifying, otherworldly noise. That's the best way I can describe it. It lasted for what felt like an eternity, and rose in volume until it reached a deafening crescendo. This was my job. Without even hesitating, I ran toward the noise, adrenaline pumping through my veins. My heart was pounding in my chest as I approached the door to the room where the scream had come from. Knocking, I mustered up the courage to call out, "Security, is everything all right in there?" The only thing I heard was another scream, this one much quieter and more muffled than the first. And then silence. "All right, I'm coming in," I said, backing up to knock down the door if I had to. Suddenly, however silently, the door opened a crack. I tensed up, my hand going to my weapon, but relaxed slightly as it opened further, revealing nothing. Nobody at all, just a normal hotel room. Cautiously, with my hand on my weapon, I inched into the room, looking around for the source of the chilling scream. "Is it anybody in here?" I called out, my voice trembling slightly. There was no answer but the sound of my own breathing, echoing eerily in the empty room. Suddenly, somebody grabbed me from behind, their hands going around my throat. I gasped for air, but it was no use. Whoever it was, they were stronger than me. I tried to struggle, but it was futile. The room started to spin and my vision started to fade. And then with a start, I awoke. Stumbling to my feet, I saw I was in a room, unlike the hotel that I had been in seconds prior. Fluorescent lights beat down on me from above, the buzz from these lights loud and constant. The yellow walls, the moist and moldy carpet. It all seemed as if I was in some sort of empty office room, with several doors leading off into other rooms. The monochromatic yellow was infuriating in a way, and I rubbed my eyes. What the hell? I muttered to myself, trying to figure out where I was. The last thing I remembered was somebody grabbing me from behind. But how did I get here? Suddenly, one of the doors opened and a figure walked in. I recognized her, though not by name. She was one of the night staff, but her eyes were shifty, and there was something wrong with her mouth. I'm not quite sure, but I just couldn't look at her mouth. Every time I tried, my eyes diverted themselves as if they couldn't handle the sight. "Hello," she said, her voice sounding off as if she was struggling to form the words. "Do you remember me?" "I'm sure you do. My name is Jessica." "Jessica, what is going on?" I asked. "Oh, you haven't been here before. It's just the offices, isn't it? Well, you'd best get along now and get out of here. You don't want to be caught slacking at your job again. Do you remember what happened the last time?" Her eyes seemed to almost bore into my soul, and I gulped. I didn't remember what had happened the last time, but I got the feeling that it wasn't anything good. "Yeah, I remember." I lied, trying to back away from her. "Good," she said, her voice sounding almost mechanical now. "Now get out of here before somebody catches you. Through that door, you'll get right back to the hotel." I wasn't sure what was going on, but I sure wasn't going to stick around here. I burst through the door, not even caring who saw me. But instead of the hotel, I found myself in an almost identical yellow room, fluorescent lights beaming down on me. "What the hell?" I muttered, stumbling backward. I turned back toward the door I had just entered and found nothing. Not a single door, not a single window, just blank yellow walls from where I had come. Spinning around, I saw several more doors, each one of them leading to a different room. One door was slightly ajar, and through it, I could see a figure sitting in a chair. I recognized him immediately, even though he was facing away from me. "Mike," I called out, running over to the door. "It's me." Mike was probably my best work friend. We had bonded over our shared love of horror movies and being generally weird. He was a great guy, always willing to help out. But as I got closer, he still didn't turn around. Almost running toward him now, I grabbed him roughly by the shoulder in an almost panic. "Mike, what is going on?" Suddenly, he turned around to face me. But his eyes were black voids, his mouth a gaping hole. I stumbled backward, tripping over my own feet in my haste to get away. I hit the ground hard, my head slamming against the floor. And then I heard a scream emitting from his hollow mouth, a scream all too familiar. I tried to cover my ears, but the screaming grew louder. Not as loud as the never-ending buzz from the lights, but loud. I yelled, covering my ears with my hands as I stumbled backward away from him. He still sat in his chair, not moving an inch, but the screaming continued, echoing around the room. I covered my ears as best I could, but it did nothing to stop the noise. The sound grew louder and louder, until I could no longer bear it. I threw open the nearest door, ran through, and slammed it shut behind me. The screaming stopped immediately. I leaned against the door, panting for breath as I tried to calm my racing heart. Looking around, I saw that I was in some sort of break room. There was a table, covered with yellow wallpaper, with some yellow chairs around it, an old yellow fridge in the corner, and a yellow sink. The only thing that wasn't yellow was the coffee maker on the counter, which was an old Mr. Coffee. Suddenly, the door burst open and Jessica walked in. "Ah, there you are," she said, her voice sounding almost robotic now. "I've been looking all over for you." But her eyes were black. Black voids that seemed to look into my soul. And her mouth. I couldn't even look at her mouth. I screamed, not even hearing my own voice, and ran. I don't know how many days it's been, nor how many rooms I've run through trying to escape them. They roam these rooms, these never-ending rooms. Some of them look like people you know, and others like unspeakable horrors that make you consider taking the easy way out. But there's no easy way out. I just hope that someone finds me soon. I can't take much more of this.